Hey guys, this is Anastasia. This video is another incense blend. I'm referring to this as my God and Goddess beacon blend. The intent behind this blend is if you are someone who has gotten to the point in their path where they really want to identify their matron or their patron, or perhaps a spirit guide or some energy that you feel is calling to you, but you don't know what that energy may be or who that energy may be. This would be a blend that you would burn perhaps during meditation, perhaps during offering or prayer. If you do dream divination or dream workings at all, burning it before you go to bed at night. Basically anything that you do to try to call out to the powers that be, to say, whenever you sit down to say, I'm feeling this energy, I'm feeling an attraction to these images and those images, but I don't know necessarily where these signs are coming from. Oh my goodness, excuse me, I'm so sorry. I'm getting pulled to these images, that images, but I don't necessarily know where these attractions are coming from or why I'm feeling pulled to this or that or the other thing. Can I get more information? Can you identify yourself? Things of that nature. When I was called by Cernunnos and I was called by Hel, both of them kind of claimed me in dreams. And even then, I second guessed. Hel, not so much. Hel, I kind of got in line right away with. But Cernunnos, to this day, I'll still have moments where I kind of go, was this real? Like, are you still there? Because he goes out and about sometimes. And even Hel, I've had moments where she goes, she did this last summer where she went completely silent. And I'm like, okay, she's left me. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. But my point is they came to me in dreams and I still second guessed it. So I always kind of like the idea of creating something to help with the process of identifying a god or a goddess that is calling to you or wanting to work with you. Perhaps it's not even a god or a goddess calling to you, but they are kind of in the wings waiting for you to find them. I do believe that the universe sends us signs from time to time and periodically and or constantly, depending on how you look at it. But we don't really get hit by those signs until the time is right. For instance, the person that I'm making this incense blend for, they've always been very into nature and paganism has really spoken to them. But as far as, a god or a goddess and things like that, they never really got into that aspect of it. And then the other day they realized, wow, Lotus imagery is kind of hitting me over the head, and maybe that means something, maybe it doesn't, but I'm gonna kind of look into it and try to figure this out because I've never been struck by this before. So I'm making this for that specific person, but I think it's something that I know I will make a version of this for myself as well, because there are times when I feel energy shift and change, and it's kind of good just to, or I'll start getting signs and being pulled to certain imagery and I'll need just a bit of help from the powers that be, hey, I just need a little help deciphering what you're trying to tell me. Where the major intent in this might be for identifying what energy or what deity or what guide or what have you is trying to specifically call out to you. I think it can also be used for, hey, I'm seeing, butterflies all over the place. Could you maybe help me out with what that might mean? And then use that in meditation, use it in dream divination, things of that nature. Basically, it's being made with the intent of deciphering images and messages from the divine, from the other realms, things of that nature. So, now that I've given you a 5-minute overview, I'm going to start crafting. So the first, this is another 13 item blend. I'm going to use, put them all in this little bowl here. First I'm going to put in 3 items for the goddess. And I'm going to do this Maiden Mother Crone. So we have, for Maiden, Colt's Foot. Colt's Foot is, I relate this to the Maiden because it is, that's what it looks like there. It is an herb that is highly associated with the goddess Brigid or Brigid. I always say Brigid, but I've heard Brigid. There's many different pronunciations, so I apologize if I'm butchering the name. But in Imbolc, that is kind of coming up, this is one of her sacred herbs. So I always kind of related that with the matron. Or not matron, the maiden. And of course I'll do my usual 3 pinches. And as I'm kind of putting this in there, sometimes you'll get herbs and leaves and things that kind of end up getting kind of clumped together. I know mugwort is especially tricky to kind of separate out. That's one thing I kind of like about loose incense is it doesn't have to be exactly perfect. It can kind of still have its little clumpiness, but if you just kind of go through and rub it between your fingers, it usually kind of comes out. And I also like that because it adds a little bit more intent, because as I'm doing this, I'm thinking primarily at this point of the maiden. I'm thinking of the attributes of the Virgin Goddess. I'm thinking of youth. I'm thinking of beauty. I'm thinking of innocence and purification. Kind of all the attributes, creativity, innocence, and not necessarily in the way that innocence is portrayed, but more just kind of a wonder. I like the idea of innocence relating to wonder. Then we have Mother, and for Mother, I've got this beautiful little rosebud. Rose I associate with Mother. If you look at a lot of mother goddesses, they will have roses. Also, for midsummer, rose is the scent of the goddess, and at midsummer, she is approaching her mother state. She is greatly pregnant, so I connect that to Mother as well. And again, these associations honestly are very personal. So if I'm saying something you're like, yeah, that doesn't make sense, why would that happen? For instance, rose, while yes, I connect it to Mother, it is also a preferred offering of Hel, white roses specifically. And Hel does not have a mother correspondence traditionally. Personally, I do see that side to her, but I know many don't. So my point in that, I guess, is if I'm using something and you're like, yeah, that doesn't mesh well with me, but this blend might be something you want to try, then I strongly suggest going out there, seeing what correspondences do mesh with you and what does work and flow for you. Don't ever take a recipe or the way one person does something and do it just because they say to do it. Always do what resonates for you. If a specific ingredient doesn't resonate for you, regardless of its personal or traditional attributes, find out what does resonate for you, because that's going to hold more power for you. And then for crone, we have Willow. Willow, of course, connects to water beautifully. It connects to the other realm. It is a tree to help with sorrow. It's a tree to help with divination and magic. It is healing. It kind of represents, for me at least, female divinity and female power. When I think of the full moon, which is the goddess in her full power, I think of the willow. So we have those 3 items to connect with the goddess in her 3 forms. And then I am going to use a bit of rose oil. Again, we used rose oil or roses for the mother. So I'm just going to Maiden, Mother, and Crone. Add that and stir that in. For some reason, with the person that I'm making this for, the mother, part of the triple goddess just kind of speaks to them a bit. So that's why I chose that specific oil to use. I wanted it to be one of the 3 items that I used, and since mother for me connects a bit more to the person, that's why I chose that one. Okay, next we have the god. And the god, traditionally for me, I work very much with the dualistic god, the light and the dark, but there are some that work with, I can never remember the triple form of the god to echo the triple goddess. I want to say it is, I've heard many, to be honest. I've heard like youth, warrior, king, or youth, warrior, sage. For me, I actually kind of connect with warrior, father, sage. I don't necessarily know why. It just, that's kind of how I've always related to it. I'm not saying that that's right. In fact, I'm sure there's quite a few people that are like, no, that's so wrong. But it's just kind of my connection. But it's the same feeling of the triple goddess. You have a youth, you have a mother, and you have a wise woman. So here we have a youth, we have a father, and you have a wise man. So for the youth or the warrior, I have oak leaves, and this is red oak. If you watched, I believe it was my wolf lunar incense, I chose to use red oak leaves because it kind of still for me, it still lends itself a bit to the darker side. This person that I'm making this for, although very youthful, very mature, so I liked the idea of keeping things a little bit more towards the darker, for lack of a better phrase, or lack of a better word. So that's why I chose the red oak as opposed to the green oak leaves that I have. Also, I'm making this for their birthday, and their birthday is in the dark of the year. So I liked the idea of keeping it kind of in that realm. And I used 2 oak leaves, again, to connect to the light and the dark. The oak and the holly, the dualistic side of the god. Even though I'm honoring the triple, I still want to give a little bit of a nod to that. Just as with the goddess blend, goddess part of the blend, I did 3 servings of each. Here I'm doing 2. So then for the father stage, or the middle stage, I'm going with amber. Now my reasoning for using amber is this amazing, amazing resin. It banishes negativity while bringing in positivity. It's great for healing. It gives this great warmth and just kind of envelops you and hugs you. And I think it speaks very much to, just as we look at the mother in the triple goddess as being kind of nurturing and cultivating of our love and you know, holding us when we need to be held and telling us everything will be all right. Amber, I feel, does that very much as well. And so I like that as a father element. So I have my amber resin here. I'm just sprinkling that in. And we've got one for the oak and one for the holly. There we go. And you may also notice I'm doing it kind of weirdly, and I'm not sure how this camera angle is really going to portray, but I'm trying to, when I have my hands running through these herbs, I'm trying to keep my fingers moving things clockwise. I'm trying to bring in all these wonderful elements that these herbs, flowers, leaves, what have you, resins possess, while also bringing in that information that this person may be trying to download from the Lord and the Lady and whatever other energies they're trying to connect with. The last item for the god is the sage. And I thought it rather fitting that I use ground sage. I love this powder. I use it to on my candles. I'll often anoint them with oil and then rub this over just to kind of help with the inscriptions. It's a great cleanser. Of course, you know that when a lot of smudging is done with sage. I actually bought this at the Enchanted Boutique down the street from me. I absolutely love that they have some of these herbs and such ground so finely. It just makes me so happy because it makes it so nice to add. So then we have added that. And then for this one, for the god part of it, I'm going to add amber oil. Again, just as kind of Mother spoke to me regarding this person, Father speaks to me, even though they are youthful again. I just think they have a lot of that love and that positivity and that wanting to protect everyone. Definitely about helping others. So we're going to do warrior, father, sage. And that is that. And then we're going to mix that all in. So I've got an oil, a rose oil for the goddess, an amber oil for the god. And now this is where we get to be a bit more personal. Each of the elements I have chosen an herb or a flower or a spice or a leaf or resin or something to connect to the elements. But there are also specific things that I've chosen for this individual. For earth, I chose mugwort. I love mugwort for any kind of divination. It connects to the moon. It's very much a feminine feeling item. I just love the energy of it. And it definitely spoke to me when thinking about something, creating something for this individual. So I'm adding that. And then for air, I have lavender. Lavender is great for communication. It is great for clarity. It's also great for peace, tranquility, love, happiness, which this individual is all about. So I wanted to definitely get an air correspondence that would connect with them. And I put 3 helpings of mugwort because that connects to the goddess as the earth element. I'm doing 2 of lavender as that connects to the god element of air, or a masculine element of air for me. And again, just something personal I do. It's not by any means anything anyone else has to do. For fire, rosemary. Rosemary, incredibly protective. Again, it helps with clarity and focus. I also love it because it kind of has the smell that it gives is this very woodsy and kind of grounded feeling, even though it's a fire element. I love it. I can't seem to get enough of it. Again, great healing, love, happiness, has relaxing agents, which are also helpful. And then for water, I chose lotus leaf. And the reason I chose lotus leaf, again, lotus was becoming an image this person was really feeling connected to lately. So I wanted to include the lotus in there. And for water, I mean, it's great. It connects to peace. It connects to mercy, love, happiness. It has connections to some goddesses like Kuan Yin. I'm forgetting the one. Oh, goodness. Lakasha? No, that's wrong. Oh, my goodness. Tip of my tongue. Can't think of it now. But even the Mother Mary kind of connected to Lotus when I was researching her to create a candle. So I definitely wanted, this one is a pink lotus leaf. So it, again, pink, very much about love, peace, kind of that unconditional rose quartz kind of feeling. And just one more. We should be good with Lotus. Okay. And now for the elemental and personal correspondences, since this person was identifying so much with Lotus, I chose Lotus oil as the final oil for binding. And I put 4 spats of the Lotus since we are dealing with earth, air, fire, and water, the 4 elements. So yeah, that is the end of the day. That is what we have. Sorry, I know the video was a little weird. I'm going up, like I said, I'm not entirely sure how this video is going to upload, if my hand's going to be upside down or what have you. But yeah, that is how it looks, and it actually looks really cool. It looks like the floor of a forest, and I think that's great. The bag you're getting in there is Enchanted Boutique, Lotus Leaf Pink. Love them. So yeah, with that, I'm going to end it. I'm probably going to charge this with clear quartz, rose quartz, and of all things, I think probably a tiger's eye. This person connects to tigers and the tiger's eye very much, so I definitely would want to include that. So yeah, that is my God